In this video, I share my experience of how to manage or turn off what I came to call the AI noise, which is the noise of AI news that was getting so loud. It was getting me worked up and revved up with anxiety and sort of this strange angsty energy right from the start of the workday, which was really unpleasant and kind of contributed to my burnout. Now, before I get into this and I talk about this topic I don't really find really easy to talk about, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Mathilde Pavis. I am the legal advisor and founder of Replique, which is the space I created to share with talent and agents and any creative professionals interested in navigating AI and digital replicas creatively, commercially, and importantly, responsibly. So because of that, AI news or being informed about AI and latest developments in the tech, in industry practices, deals, lawsuits, and so forth, all of that topic was really core to my work and has been really core to my work. When I work as a special advisor to the UN, especially UNESCO, the part that is dedicated to culture and the creative industries, they asked me to write an AI strategy for that branch of the agency. In that period, in those months I worked there, I just ate AI news. Not hate, ate. I mean, I just consumed AI content, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and beyond, because all day, every day, all I was doing was tracking industry developments and news and headlines to be able to brief speakers in member states quickly. And I was also reading about AI studies and data and evidence-based work that had been done by scholars across a whole range of fields in order to inform the strategy with sound and informed perspectives and actual evidence and data. Anyway, in this process, but even before that, if I'm honest, in this process, I burnt out. Like, no surprise, I burnt out big time. And also, I just got overloaded with AI news, that to a point where I couldn't stand it. I almost got angry when people would send me really interesting headlines or links to interesting stuff that was going on my topic of preference and choice, which is digital replicas and AI voices and clones and all of that, which is something I love that people do and I really cherish because it helps me really stay updated. But at that time, I was just overloaded and I knew I needed to do something. Like basically three areas in the way I was getting information was getting hijacked by AI news, because in my personal life, in my professional life, I became this lady who was interested in AI, generally speaking, and the legal aspects of AI regulation, but also I became the AI in the creative industries lady, which is a broad field. Actually, those are multiple broad fields in and of themselves. And people I knew, former students, colleagues, family members, cousin, anytime they saw something about AI in the news that related to regulation or artists and unions and voice and music and text, they would send me a link. So both my inbox, personal and professional, my WhatsApp, personal and professional, started exploding with that ping, 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 ping news everywhere. When I opened my social media network, primarily LinkedIn feed, all I would see there are my peers posting about breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, new case, new policy, new report, breaking, breaking, breaking. That little klaxon emoji was just used all the time. And the combination of that, and I think the fact that I was tired and fatigued and a bit burnt out on the way, I just got really revved up and I got into that stage like, oh my god, I'm bombarded by AI information. I'm feeling like I'm falling behind. This really feels like shit. I'm sorry to use this word, but it really felt crappy and it was not a nice space to be in for me emotionally. Even though I really loved my work, this was a really unpleasant part of it. And I just kind of was like, I had enough. I almost like sort of lashed out one day to a colleague who's, oh, it was so sweet and I find so endearing. And it's just like, I can't do it. Just stop talking. I can't talk and I can't take another AI news. Now, if you are people who send me links, who will see this video, keep doing it. I really like it. That just was for me the moment when the penny dropped and I was like, oh, Mathilde, you need to sort the house out. Like you need to sort out your side of the equation because clearly something's not working. It has nothing to do with the lovely people who reach out to you, family members, colleagues, former students, clients, all of that, because that's actually super lovely. It's a really lovely way to connect about, in a very human way, about a topic that sometimes feels a bit disconnecting in a not so human way, AI. So I realized, okay, I need to sort this out. So I'm going to share with you what I did to fix this in case you recognize yourself in what I've just described. So a few things I did. First, I told people, like especially people at home, I'm so glad you kind of put in your head myself and my name and like the idea of me as someone who will be interested in AI news, but just please know that it's kind of intense, the amount of texts I'm getting about AI, and I'd love to hear about it, but let's talk about it when we next catch up. And don't be offended if I don't reply or read what you sent me and then come back with a thoughtful thing. It will just be because I'm running out of time, but let's talk about it next time we hang out. So I dealt with the personal stuff that way. Professionally, I had to manage 3 things: WhatsApp, fairly easy, my inbox, and social media. So what I did is that I needed to reduce the flow of information on AI I was getting from those 3 channels, and at the same time I had to stay informed. So it was a bit of a balance I need to find. So what I did is that, okay, I'm going to move things onto a channel that doesn't get me worked up as much and I can manage well. And for me, that's email. My emails, they're set up in a way that they're not clickbaity. They're not going to make me doom scroll. Nobody's been caught doom scrolling their inbox in the same way that you could do that if you're scrolling on any of the social media feeds. So I was like, okay, I need to get my AI information through that medium to not have it distract myself and be a source of anxiety and feeling bombarded by news that aren't really news. And also, the second thing I did is I redirected information about AI to my inbox by signing on to newsletters of people whose analysis and opinion are valued and trusted. And I limited that number to 3. I picked 3 AI commentators that for my field made sense to read and follow because they talked about the law, because they all talked about the creative industries, and another one that blended the 2. And so I have the coverage of AI in the creative industries that I care about. I have a coverage of AI in the law that I care about, and I have a coverage of AI regulation for the part of AI that I care about. And I realized those people had newsletter that gave weekly digest or weekly update, and then I do that. And I don't even read their content weekly, but I get the information, I get the message in my inbox, then I file it into a folder that I schedule every other week, or at the very least once a month, to go through to make sure I'm informed. And that's it. I close all of the other channels. Like now when I open a LinkedIn news, I go for updates with my network and get news from people, but not news on AI. I don't use that as a source of information because whilst LinkedIn is a bit better than most other platforms in terms of not hijacking your brain and letting you doom scroll forever, it is still a bit intense. It's still super distracting, and I don't want to spend time there that I can spend on like focus time or a more quiet time elsewhere. So this is how I managed that. I closed the sources and channels of information, moved it all onto email, which is much healthier and easier for my brain to manage. And I selected the sources of information I get from. Now, I recommend you do the same. Who are 3-4 maximum newsletter or writers or publication that you could follow that would give you that healthy, perhaps not perfect, but good enough diet of information on AI on a weekly, bi-monthly or monthly basis. You don't need to have the daily digest in your work. That is my experience. You don't need the hot takes that were spun out in like 2 seconds after the headlines hit the news, because from a professional perspective, those insights are not going to give you the value, the substance you need to really enrich your perspective, your analysis, or inform your next business move. It's not going to happen. And anything that doesn't do that does entertainment. And I don't recommend you get your entertainment from AI news unless you're a total AI geek, in which case, please, that's fun for you, no problem. But don't let that take away deep focus work or work hours when you want to spend it, getting traction on other projects or maybe get tractions on AI deals. So that would be the strategy I did. And of course, I had personally had to manage my inbox as a result, because I increased traffic in my inbox through this news, and I'm really particular about keeping a quiet, clear inbox. Because it really helps manage my own anxiety and avoid burnout and be on task and stay on task, especially. And for that, I use the message from I think they're called the Productivity Ninja, and the Outlook Office strategy and how to organize your inbox. Now, most talent I know, and most talent professional advisors, like most agents I know, are really hot on their inbox. So I doubt this is a problem for you. But if, like me, you spend years not really organizing your inbox properly and having low to no skills in that department, apart from first come, first served, first come, first answered type away, you'll probably need a method. And I recommend the strategy proposed and it's free, you can find it online. It's called, I think, Ninja Productivity. There's a step-by-step tool on how to set up your Outlook, your Gmail, your Apple Mail, whichever you use, in a way that will give you clarity and action and to-do list in a clear way. So that's what I did, and the rest I turned off. The second tip I would give you, besides picking the sources you're here from, close all forms of other channels to just streamline who you're here from. And you could always update it. It's not set in stone once you've done that, but I would strongly, advise you to give it a go. The second thing I did is that I agreed with 2 or 3 people in my network to swap industry insights. So if you have a team, or if you have colleagues that are also tracking, the topics of AI, digital replicas, digital clones, or you want to cover different topics of AI between yourselves, you could each sign up to 2 or 3 different newsletters, and anytime something really interesting or unusual show up on your radar, you share it with the other. And that way you're totally bulletproof. You're really well covered without the burn of having to sift through each and every email, individual posts, daily posts people put out, because that can be tiring in and of itself. And last but not least, I would say wait the end of the week to review. It really is fixed. If you're signing on to a weekly digest of news or commentary, or a weekly newsletter or a monthly newsletter, that will be done for you. But if you're signing up to a writer that's a bit more prolific and writes more often, I would wait for the digest, wait a week on any news, because chances are there'll be updates coming the day after and etc. Don't jump on the hot news straight away, because often, apart from a bit of novelty, it doesn't necessarily serve you that well. Read about an event about a week after it's happened, if not more, because then that way you have the long view analysis with more substance and content than if you have the hot take. Don't jump, don't take the bait when it comes out. Just leave it there, watch it, know it's there. So if someone asks you questions, you can say, oh yeah, I saw this. I haven't had the chance to read about it. Yes, in depth, but I saw this come up. But don't take it. Don't read further. Just leave it there and leave it for the time you've set aside to read and update yourselves on AI. And it's more fun if you do it with other people. It is more fun if you say, hey team, we're going to get coffee every other week for an hour. We're going to get coffee. We're going to sit down, and together we're going to review what's come up in the news. And that makes it human, that makes it collaborative, that takes away the burnout. And then you realize how rare it is to have genuine AI news. And very soon you'll be like, oh, it kind of makes me think of that story from 3 months ago. Or this is really just another case study of the same tech application, on and on and on. You will see that there is not that much new under the AI sun. It's not completely repetitive. There are things that are game changers for sure, but don't buy into the fast-paced impression of the AI news cycle, because otherwise you get caught in AI noise, not AI news. And this was my strategy, or has been my strategy for the last year and a half, in how to deal with it. I hope this is helpful. Please message, text, feedback, anything on this. If you have better strategies on how to manage that, please share them with me. Reply to this message if you get this video in an email, or get in touch. I would love to hear from you. And until then, I'll speak to you soon and see you in the inbox or see you at the next Replique office hour.